Bodybuilding fans around the world, it's time for another Primetime Muscle. Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by Tarek El-Guindy. Hello, my friend.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I've been waiting for the whole time. Chris Cormier is no longer with us. We are going to have a better bodybuilder. I want to congratulate my director, Nico, for finding someone better than Chris Cormier.
It doesn't look like you're getting your wish. Yeah. Chris is with us. Chris is guest posing today. Chris. Sorry.
Yeah,
Chris had to make an entrance.
Thought you got rid of me,
Chris,
huh?
it is great to see you.
Wait. Let me.
Oh,
That's my intro.
Chris's intro.
How y'all doing? What's up?
Can somebody put a cyanide
What's up
pill
with it?
in my coffee?
What's
Okay.
We're welcome.
A cyanide pill in my coffee, please.
The real deal, the one and only, the Louis Vuitton Don.
I couldn't see you behind these shades.
I thought we were gonna gain thousands of subscribers. The sponsors called. I'm upgrading my sponsorship.
They want out.
You know who else called? The massage parlor at Caesar's Palace. They want the coat back.
They want that coat. Come on, you like this coat?
I do like that coat.
Little Versace on them, huh?
Is that what it is?
Little
The coat is
on 'em,
Versace
baby?
as well.
Versace, baby.
Who makes the coat is Versace?
It's Versace.
See, they won't allow me in there. There's a guard in the front door when I come by.
Man, come on, dog. Let's get on. Let's get it on.
So
That's exactly what the lady boy wears
I'll let you
right before she takes the client. The lady boy is wearing
How do you
that
know?
with
How do you
nothing
know?
underneath it.
How do you
okay?
know? How do you know?
That's what the lady boys. It's all over the internet. They wear
you guys
that
wanna,
stuff
You guys want to put comments?
right before they get their customers.
I got to throw this out here too. I know you guys love Chris's clothes. Of course, throw your comments out there so we know. Like, subscribe.
Let them know.
Tell
About
your
the
friends.
Drip.
So
Uncle Drip.
I don't know if you heard this story. Somebody went to the hotel where we stay and said, "Oh, I met Tarek and his bodyguard."
My bodyguard?
Yeah, I was talking about Chris.
Listen, I can invest and get a better bodyguard.
I don't know that you can. All right.
More imposing, right?
Let's get down to business. We love. There's a lot of movement possibly in the league this year with people maybe moving up. We're going to start off with one guy who doesn't need to change classes necessarily because he'll fight at any weight. He is the giant killer, Sean Clarida. Guys, does he stay in the 212 or does he move to open?
Tim, I think he's going to be going back and forth. I think when it comes down to Olympia, I think he want to get those Olympia titles. If it comes down to a show outside of the Olympia, you can expect him to probably be in the open class. And, you know, the judge has been giving him a lot of respect because they see his proportions, they see his the shape of the body, they see the hardness that he's bringing. The poses, he poses like a tall bodybuilder. He don't pose like a short guy. I'm trying to be on my tippy toes to be as tall as I can, like I got high heels on. It's nothing like that when he poses. He poses just like he's a
full-size person.
A full-size, long, lanky.
Did I say the wrong thing?
Dude. I don't know if you can say that.
You're going to get canceled,
He's a giant
Your ass is going to get canceled,
Don't cancel me. I like you, Sean. Who put Shoe?
I love Sean. Between the Olympia and the Arnold this year, he put on, about 8 to 10 quality pounds, came in fuller, and I'll say it, came in harder, because normally a guy, you'll take an entire year off, and it's hard to come in 10 pounds harder, 10 pounds bigger, and conditioned.
He looked better, and he continues to look better. I think he's so dominant in the 212, and if he goes back to the 212, he's going to be very hard to beat. I agree with Chris. He's going to go back and forth. He likes that paper. You know what I mean? He goes into some shows. He wins prize money. He goes into the Arnold. The only issue is this. Sean Clarida is probably one of the greatest 212s giant killers of all times. He just chose the wrong generation to compete against. Because a few years back, you had Brendan Curry, who was the Mr. Olympia. You had Bonek, who was second place. And you had a few guys there that were big, but they were, in the back end. Right now, he's competing against Samson Dauda, who looks like him, just 150 pounds heavier. He's got Andrew Jacked, and then you're talking about Shaquille O'Neal and Muggsy Bogues. He just chose the wrong generation to expand his open career. And this generation of tall guys with lines is very hard to beat. You can go ahead and ask Nick Walker. I got all the mass in the world. I got conditioning, and I can't go head to head with these guys. What does Sean Clarida have to do?
Before you jump in, Muggsy Bogues and Shaq. That was tight. That was tight.
Hey man, I know my NBA. I'm telling you right now, my pick to win the NBA title. We are right now getting close to the finals.
So you got Denver.
My pick to win is the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is fantastic. I can't pronounce his name, but that man is on fire.
So back to
Denver?
Back to a guy who we can pronounce, Sean Clarida. Now, Chris, I've always been fascinated by this. You talk about pounds per inch that someone's got to be the same as someone different size. And Sean's what, 5'4"? I think he's 5'4".
With shoes on.
With shoes on. But you put him up against Samson Dauda, who's 5'10", 5'11". I know Jack is 6'1".
He's closer to 6 feet.
So 6 feet. Let's give him 6 feet. That's 7.5, 8 inches. So it should be 10 solid pounds per inch of height. So he wasn't 150 pounds bigger. He was about 185 on stage at the Arnold, in the 170s at the Olympia. 185. So 8 inches. It's pound for pound the same physique. Samson Dauda, Andrew Jacked. He is able, pound for pound, to compete with those guys and has cleaner lines at that size, which is very hard.
Well, at his height, he's getting major props from the judges. He's getting all the respect in the world from any competitor. Just like William Bonac, he's not a tall guy, but he gets the respect, no matter who's on stage. So with his tenacity in the gym and his to come in hard like that takes a lot. That takes a lot of dedication. And man, that's saying something for someone that size to be able to battle those big guys. And just even of him up against Rami, you're like, well, shit. He's got the cuts. Where are we going with this? But Rami is 200,000 pounds bigger than Sean. But he's getting a lot of respect. So I would just keep doing what I'm doing.
Here's my question to both of you, and now is your time to lose followers, Tim. There's always a time.
Both of them. I have 3 solid followers.
Is Sean Clarida the greatest giant killer of all times?
We talked about this.
We did talk about this. I don't think he's got the years in service yet to be able to compare him to some of the guys that came before him. Some of the, the Danny Padillas
Is Sean Ray a giant killer, or is he too tall?
I think he's too tall. I think he's mid between, and I think we're talking 212. We talked money. When we talked Derek Lunsford vacating the 212 title and moving up, we said, okay, this may or may not be a great idea just for money. You said, like in the paper is one thing. When you've got a guaranteed $75,000 and you're gonna take what's behind door number 2, could be a donkey, could be in Derek's case $150,000. So does Sean just keep jumping back and forth, or does he ever make the full leap into the Open?
Tim, if he goes to the Open the whole time, he's going to lose a great opportunity to become one of the greatest 212s. We're talking about Flex Lewis as the greatest 212.
7 titles?
Yeah. And then Sean can win. He seems young. He can win 6, 7, 5. He can dominate that class. If he does that, and then he jumps into some of these shows and wins some of these Open shows, pops in at the Arnold, pops in at the New York Pro, and gets a good placing, I think in the end of his career, we can be mentioning his name with Sean Ray, Benaziza, Padilla, and some of these guys.
Well, Flex Lewis, I thought he was going to go into the Open and do what Sean is doing now. that would have been a great battle also to see Sean and Flex Lewis going head to head.
But again,
Because he didn't have that
Flex
type of...
Lewis, you know, it's a good point you bring, but Flex Lewis has a stigma of a unbeatable champion, right? He didn't really lose in the end. He retired. He beat Derek Lunsford. He beat a lot of these guys, and then he was gone. If you go into the Open and you placed 4th, 6th, 7th, and then you got a good 3rd place, you almost kind of lose that stigma. We have a stigma that Flex Lewis is an unbeatable 212.
Is he gone though? That was the whole rumor for what, the last 3?
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
From 2019, Flex Lewis is done.
He's running that gym. He's got a wife. He's got kids. He's gonna be as fat as Chris and I in about 2 years. Okay.
I don't see that happening, but okay. So Chris, stay in the 212. Stay in your lane. Try to get to that 7 wins. Jump back and forth. Collect some money in Seattle. Collect some money in Chicago. That's the Sean Clarida thing. And there's only so much more size he can pack on that frame before he gets out of proportion.
You probably see him back in Reno also. That's where it all started for him.
Is that the first jump into the
first
giant?
one. Yeah. So I just think that he's shown what he can do, and I don't think he's afraid to compete against anyone. And he's very confident up there.
What weapons does he need to tune up if he's really going to take down a couple more guys along the way? Is it a calf? It's not an upper chest and shoulder thing. It's not a clavicle thing. Where is he lacking?
He's done a lot. I mean, the ab and thigh is great. He got striations in the quads. The lats are good. You can always get more back, I would assume. He utilizes his poses great. He improved in the front lat spread. The front double has become really strong in him also. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time. He's getting better with front, like fine wine.
Your Honor, what would you do?
Win 5, 6 212s, jump into New York Pro, jump into some of these shows, win or place 2nd and 3rd, make your money, become a legend, retire before everybody expects you to retire, and live a life of, glory.
That sounds good. All right.
What champions do.
Speaking of guys that are dominant in a class and we're wondering where it's going to end up, we have a guy that is an icon in the sport right now who is also one of the stars of the very first Olympia battle. We'll come back talking about what the future may hold for the one and only Cbum on Primetime Muscle. Everybody loves Cbum. A lot of people wondering, though, what does the future hold? He keeps growing. He's topping out that size, Chris. Tarek, he's topping out what he can carry on his frame and still dominate. And what does that title mean at the end of the day? You've got your 5th, 6th, 7th win. You got millions of followers from around the world. Is it something still to prove to move in the Open for Chris?
Here's the thing. I've had a chance to meet Chris in Florida for Olympia TV, and then Olympia Battle. He spent a lot of time with us here in Phoenix a few months back. He was incredible. He loves the sport of bodybuilding. He loves the promotion. Chris Bumstead lives on his own pace. He will not do anything to prove anything to anybody. If Chris Bumstead gets married and has 2 kids, looks at his wife and says, I'm done, and everybody thinks he's going to win the Mr. Olympia, he's done. I give him a lot of credit because he's a free spirit guy. He's not going to be swayed by money or titles. And if he does a open bodybuilding show, I believe it's going to be for fun. I think he's going to give his best, but I don't think he will do on our terms. He'll do on his terms. He could very well show up at a show in Texas. He could show up here and there. Do I think that's his career? I personally don't. I don't think Chris Bumstead will be known as an open bodybuilder when he retires, even if he competes. I think his legacy will be as the greatest classic physique of all times. As he said, hey man, quote, if I remember one of those guys that crushed the classic physique Olympia for a few years, I'm fine with that. I love his personality. I love what he stands for in the sport. I know Chris Cormier doesn't like Cbum, but I do.
Chris, rebuttal?
Why do you listen to this guy? Me and Chris got along great. We spent some little time together at the,
You got resentment that he beat Breon Enns in 2019. You got some resentment against him, He told me, he goes,
yeah, but you didn't even.
Chris a little dry with me. Chris a little dry with me. Now, go ahead and tell me, did you have a good time when he came for Olympia Battle? Because when you guys were working out, there was some chemistry there.
Yes, we have chemistry there. I was helping him. I was, putting him up on some game. But you said that you didn't even vote for him, so you want to back it down and you want to kick it down a notch with me, buddy.
Breon Ensley.
Who did you vote for that year?
We're not allowed to speak who we have voted
but I
for.
heard you.
But
I heard you. I can speak for him. So there you go.
But let me
leave
ask you
that
this,
on there since you want to talk.
This is a stupid question because I don't. Chris is. Let me ask you this, Tarek, because this is some inside fun.
No.
Back in the day, they used to put out the score sheets with what each score from each judge was. So is that top secret now, or what?
No, it's not. We want to put it all out there. Just the facts.
You come to me like that, okay? You don't have the guts.
Get the facts, Jack.
If it's not for Tim,
get the facts,
you
jackass.
wouldn't be alive right now. Okay?
Jackass.
Here's the thing. The scorecard is there for all of you guys to see. The two is highest,
kidding.
And the two. You don't have to be kidding, my brother. I face you anytime.
Oh, talking slang, my brother.
Okay.
You people.
Nico, man. Come on, man. Nico, man.
So
I can't work in these conditions, Nico. Just something, Nico. Okay?
So back to
this. You better start drug testing these guys. Here's the deal.
Go ahead.
The two highest and the two lowest get eliminated. In the past, no judge has a problem putting their name out there. It's perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. But in the past, what has happened is people have seen the names, fans and athletes, and they have confronted the judges. And we don't want that. We don't want that,
Why?
Well, Chris, you don't have the guts that I have. No, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of anything.
You're sweating.
I can put my name on your forehead right now if I want. Okay?
Don't put anything on my forehead, please.
Let's go back to Cbum. I don't want to see either of your bums, and I want to see what's on your forehead. And we already know, because you've discussed it in poor Chris more than enough times, that if he was one of the judges, his score would be gone because he's the highest. So let's go back.
I want to judge.
You do want to judge. We're all good. I took that for you.
They drug test your ass.
So
you wouldn't make it. You wouldn't make it. You got to be responsible. You wouldn't make it.
So Chris Bumstead pops back and forth off season. He stays fairly within range. But off season, he's popping up into that 260, 270 range.
Yeah, he said he was 265 this past prep in the off season. But he's a lot bigger kid than what I thought he was. Frame for frame, that's a large frame to go up against. And him and Dino, they were some big kids. I was watching them walk from behind. I was like, damn, I told him, I said, man, you're a hell of a lot bigger than what I thought you were.
Well, and I think if you look at him, he turned pro at the North Americans as a heavyweight. He lost the overall to Justin Rodriguez. And in his words, he said, man, Justin just completely outmuscled me. The novelty of him competing in the Open is quite attractive. The reality of having him right next to Andrew Jacked and Simpson Dauda, guys that have about 50 pounds more than him and also have beautiful lines, is a challenge. We love the novelty, but the reality might not be as attractive.
But I got to ask you, Tarek, because you hit the nail on the head. One of the only guys on the stage in the last year and a half that has the beautiful, sweeping, classic lines that looks like the silhouette of a bodybuilding poster is Andrew Jacked. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. A lot of the other guys are blocky, they're muscular, they have a definitive bodybuilder look, where Andrew looks like an old school, like I'm almost almost going Lee Haney back, with that sweep and that tiny waist, or Arnold's silhouette. But he's 20 on stage in the Open. He'd be 30 pounds bigger than Arnold was at his best, and more conditioned. You put him up against half these guys in an Open at 260, 265, and he's going to look 285, where they just look big.
So, real quick, Chris has said, he goes, I don't have the facility to gain muscle as much as people think I have. And I like classic, I'm comfortable here, but I'm not one of those guys that's going to explode to 250, 260. If he's not one of those guys that's going to explode, you have to look at him competing at 230, 235. Tim, we live in a very dire situation right now. If you are a open bodybuilder, you can ask Nick Walker that. You have Samson Dauda with beautiful lines at 285, 290. You have Andrew Jack, 6'1", 6'2", probably going in at 290. We have mass monsters with beautiful lines right now. This is not a good time to get exotic. If you're a 212, if you're a classic, you're looking at the Open and saying, do I really want to be between these guys? And if you want more, hit a back double biceps next to Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, I think Tarek's right. I think there's some poses we'd be dying to see Chris Bumstead up there against some of the top guys, hitting the front lat spread, hitting the side chest, ab and thigh or such like that. We don't know about the full gamut of being an open bodybuilder, but I just think maybe even start with the just like Derek did, and go to Pittsburgh and try your luck.
Just jump on stage.
Get on the stage and in Pittsburgh and see how you fare, and then take it from there. I don't know.
So to even do Open, he'd have to qualify like Derek, like how Derek either got a special invite or he'd have to qualify.
Well, that's a question for your best friend, Dan Solomon. Okay, that's a question for your best friend. When that discussion comes in on invitations and this and that, I want to be far away. I am not the decision maker on that. Here's the thing. Let's put Chris Cormier on blast right now.
Oh, my God.
If Chris Bumstead asked for an invitation, would you give it to him?
I don't think he wants to do that. I think he wants to just do a regular.
Oh, he said on the Truth podcast with Hani Rambod, I'll ask for an invitation.
Well,
would you, if it was your decision, would you give it to him?
Yeah.
I would. Hot minute. For the good of the sport, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he's the most popular bodybuilder we have in the sport.
I'm gonna say something.
So you're gonna lose. They're gonna lose a lot of.
I'm gonna say something.
They're gonna lose a lot of followers by not doing it.
I have the guts.
You don't want them.
Say, I look at the camera. I look at the camera and I say, America.
Take his.
If I was the decision maker
Instagram down.
and Chris Bumstead asked for an invitation, I'm man enough to tell him, of course you can have one.
Chris,
that's right.
Chris has done for this sport what Tom Selleck did for Hawaiian shirts.
He's a funny guy, too.
He's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy. He looks amazing on stage. He's intelligent. If Derek got an invitation, Chris Bumstead should get one. In my personal opinion, I'm not the decision maker. But man, come on. We are here to make the sport better. And talk to me about the executive team in bodybuilding, the Olympia team, the IFBB Pro League team. They have made every decision of adding classes, of giving these special invitations. Everything is calculated, and it has made the sport better. Absolutely.
So tell us what you think. Should he bite the carb and move up? Should this be a move that you think Chris Bumstead should make? Should he be that guy that says, hey, at title number 5, which is this next coming year, if he should fend off Ramon Dino and Michael Somerville and Urs Kalaczynski, if he captures 5, does he set the record and make it unbeatable, or does he make the jump?
Well, the thing is, I've won the Pro Ironman 4 years in a row, and after you win it a certain amount of times, getting ready for that show again, it's not like, it's like a ho-hum type of thing, and I just think he has no fear in losing to anyone, and he's won a lot already. So, I mean, you got 4 already. I mean, I just got to say it just depends on when he feels like doing it and how he wants to do it and how he wants to finish. Simple as that.
All right, guys, we have another interesting champion that may be coming back, and we're going to discuss what that comeback would look like and how the landscape has changed since they were on stage last with the 2 new champions that have been duking it out, how she would fare when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
And we're back with our final segment of the day. And we're talking about women's physique. And women's physique, where Sarah Villegas dethroned Shanique Grant and held that title for a couple years. This last year, Natalia Coelho took that title. And now we have a buzz, gentlemen.
Shanique Grant, in my personal opinion, as a judge, is one of the most gifted human beings in the history of bodybuilding. We're talking about, a Phil Buchanan, type of waist. We're talking about muscle bellies of Flex Wheeler. We're talking about aesthetically pleasing lines, Chris Cormier. Shanique Grant, I think I would love to put her right next to Linda Murray, both of them at their best. She is an incredible champion. I mean, unbelievable, drop dead gorgeous. There are some rumors that she is coming back. Rumors that she's coming back to the women's physique. She doesn't need to compete. She doesn't need an invitation. She's a former Olympia champion. She can just show up there and shock the world. There are also rumors that she might be going to wellness. And that tiny little waist, hey, there are rumors out there. She lives in Las Vegas. I'm on the West Coast. I hear rumors that might be, or the rumors that she's not coming back. But we are talking about the most genetically gifted woman in bodybuilding right now. There's not a single person in any female division that has the genetics of Shanique Grant.
Not Sydney Gilland.
No. Sydney Gilland is incredible, unbelievable, amazing. Shanique Grant.
Not Miss Pretty Muscle?
Andrea Shaw.
No. Those are some of the greatest of all times as well. Shanique Grant, along with Linda Murray, might be the greatest genetics of all time. If you look at her women's physique performance, when she won her first Olympia, we were in awe. It looked like someone that we had never seen.
The Ultimate X.
I mean, guys, look at her pictures, look at her video. It's just a superior, genetically gifted human being.
I mean, Tarek's right. For once, she is one of the most dynamic physiques you ever want to see. I would love to see her back up there. She brought a flair to the sport in general that we haven't had that dynamic physique up there. Almost like the dominance of a Lee Haney going up there. So it was almost shocking, like a Mike Tyson getting knocked out when she lost. And I feel like, she has a physique to do anything she wants to do. Just like Tarek said, she could do the wellness. She's got those glutes and those legs and already on a nice frame, small waist. She can go back to her bread and butter, the physique class. So it's going to be up to her, but I would love to see her back on stage for sure.
So it always begs the question, though, for anybody in any class. Sarah beat her 2019, 2020? 2020.
Tried to entice her.
2019, she beat her. Sarah won 2020, 2021, and then Natalia 2022.
So, given that Sarah beat her in 2019 and 20, Well, she wasn't there in 20. And then 21, and then 22. So you've got two Olympians who have now set the gold standard for what that division should look like. Has the division passed her up? Or is she going to have to just work extra hard to reestablish with all the lines and muscle bellies and whatnot to get back on stage and say, hey, remember me? This is why I won the first 3 times.
So you look at, just want to give you a parallel here. Andrea Shaw. Andrea Shaw can win the Mr. Olympia if she's not 100%. Sydney Gillen can win the Mr. Olympia if she's not 100%. If there's a conversation about Shanique Grant announcing that she's going to be doing the women's physique, I guarantee you that Natalia Coelho and Sarah Viegas will look at each other or their coaches and say, oh boy, this is trouble. Because when they were competing against Shanique Grant, what they saw was almost an unbeatable wall. It was somebody that was genetically superior and that posed well, that had that champion aura. And a lot of people think that she never lost.
But but back when she was competing, Tarek, there was a lot of, uncertainties about what they want out of the category, what they're looking for. And I think that had a lot to do with when she was finishing up, how she was posing, how she was presenting herself. Like she was trying to make her legs look smaller than what they really are by posing them differently. It was an awkward thing for me to see because this wasn't the way you're supposed to compete.
I'm going to throw this out, though, to both of you, and I'll throw it out to Chris first. When you talk about a division passing somebody up, Shanique and Natalia are basically the same age. They're within a few months of each other, I think. She had 2 very young physiques. Natalia was doing her thing, and she was just 1 and 2, 1 and 2 all those years with Shanique. Shanique has now had all these years off. I think Sarah's a few years older than both of them. I think Sarah's in those prime years. You talk about that 28 to 35, 37 range. And Natalia's still at the beginning, but made all those improvements while Shanique was away.
It's just like one's a BMW, one's a Mercedes. I mean, they're both great. It's just a little bit of something on this side.
One's been in the garage 3 years is what I'm getting at, Chris. Hadn't been driven.
But it's classy. It's classy. And
So hold on.
You know it's there.
What about the Pinto? Who's the Pinto?
No one's a Pinto in this.
So if Sarah Viegas is a Mercedes, Natalia Coelho is the BMW, what is Shanique Grant?
She might be the Porsche, but she hasn't been driven. And when you don't drive an exotic car like that, that's that kind of high performer, the suspension has problems, the engine has problems.
But she had a car cover on it.
You guys, we went wide with this one.
She had a car cover on it the whole time.
No, okay.
Well,
I know too much.
Listen,
I'm letting this go.
Tim has a point. We don't know if she goes back and we see her at her best. And I think Tim has a point to that. And there's always this thought that when a great champion comes back, and that happened to Kevin Levrone, right? After all these years, people think that they're going to come back at their best, and they don't.
But Kevin did come back pretty well. He never really had the big flaring quads, never really had some of his strengths did come back, at least with that upper body.
Well, and nobody will know this like you do, Chris. You may know as well, but who was Kevin up against in those years that he was at his best, and then after the comeback?
Me.
Who, the whole time?
Me.
Yeah. So, but who was
just you?
Who was the Mr. Olympia during the first run?
Man.
And
he was against Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman.
All of the
no, you just said you, as if you were only the existing person in that era.
I was chasing him down until I passed him up.
And since I was the MC in the second run when Kevin was around 99, 2000, 2001-ish,
right.
That was Ronnie, Jay, Nasser.
Right.
You had some big bodies out there. So the sport progressed to another level yet again.
I hate when people come up to me and say, well, the men's physique guys don't look the same as they did in the past. And I go, hold on, Tiger. Does the bodybuilder right now that won the Mr. Olympia, does he look like Larry Scott? No, he doesn't. Do the guys in 1960 NBA, do they shoot the three-pointers like the guys shoot right now? Do the NFL quarterbacks right now that throw for 400 yards. Did we have that when the Packers and the Bears were playing in the 50s? No. Every sport evolves.
So you saying Jeremy can't come back? Is that what you're saying?
Buendia?
Who?
Yeah, Jeremy Buendia.
I think he can come back, but if he comes back, just like Shanique Grant, they're going to have to say, I have the genetics. I was the champion, but the sport has evolved. It's not enough to do what I did when I was the champion. I have to go to that next level.
Do you think it passed her up? You think it passed up?
That's what I'm asking.
Shanique?
Well, of course, the evolution of the sport has passed everybody, but the key question is, with her gifted genetics, if she matches the evolution of the sport and she meets Natalia Coelho and Sarah Viegas, you know, it's quite dangerous.
Well, Sarah's pretty pissed, and she wants that title back. So
Sarah did not like losing. She did not. She's a great competitor.
She shouldn't.
She's a great competitor.
I'm glad she don't like it.
But she was gracious. She was gracious.
But you don't have to like it.
You know, she was gracious. Well, you don't have to like. I agree with you, Chris. You can go back to your camp and say, F this, I'm never going to lose this. But on stage, you have an obligation to the audience.
Hey, man, when the stakes are high.
The promoters, the judges.
When the stakes are high, because I remember when I lost my 6th Arnold Classic in a row, and I'm just looking like, okay, I got this one in the bag. You know, it's me and Dexter. Dexter never beat me before. This is 2005. And I look in the audience, and I look at the Mayans. I'm looking at everybody. Yeah, finally here. And then I saw some heads drop like this.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, shit. That saved me, because if I would have got the shock, like someone just doused water on you, you didn't win it again, I would have kicked. It would have been bad. I'm just glad I saw some heads drop, like, oh shit, because I would have lost it. And even so, right when I hit those curtains, I'm like, I'm on the ground, face down, every time, because I'm not a loser and I don't like to lose.
No, Chris, and I appreciate your passion. However, for the sake of
I'm just telling you.
No, I understand, but hey,
that's what happened.
How do you like winning? You won the Ironman 4 times. You're a great champion. You won San Francisco. You won a lot of times.
Deservedly so.
Well,
go ahead.
Can I finish my point?
Go ahead.
What we have to understand is that when you win a show, the decision was the judge's decision. We're responsible for it. We're willing to go backstage and tell you why you won and why you lost. You have to understand that as controversial as it is, as painful as it is, you can never take that moment from the guy that won the show. And when you act in a non-professional way, when you don't have good sportsmanship, then you're taking that moment from the guy who won.
You're talking about raw emotion. You're talking about no one's thinking about, you're only thinking about yourself and what you put into
emotional intelligence.
You don't go up there, I'm thinking about
Chris, that's like my kid.
It's raw emotion.
Chris, when it's my daughter's birthday and I start giving my daughter gifts, my son starts crying nonstop. But he's a kid. We are adults. You take that pain. You resist. You smile. You shake hands. You go backstage and you cry. You cuss.
Losers
you do everything.
Lose, winners win.
But on stage, because you're a competitor, you gotta save that moment to the guy that won. It's not his fault. You want to blame the judges? You blame me. You blame me. Look into my eyes and come talk to me, and I'll face your ass.
Sometimes you can't control it.
We'd love to give you a takeaway. That is a huge takeaway.
I mean, you can't control it.
And I'm going to take it away from these two.
Leave some comments. Can you guys control it?
Subscribe right now. Let me know if I'm right or Chris Cormier is wrong.
No, it's just raw emotion, guys. Raw emotion.
Hey, at every level, NPC, IFBB Pro League, I'm going to take this home because it's very important. At every level, from your first show to your last show, be gracious, or it will come back to haunt you. Judges remember, judges pass it around. You want to be the guy that's known as the guy that shakes the hand of the winner, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place, says good job, and then you go back to the drawing board quietly. Then cry, then scream, smash your trophy at home.
Face down. No, don't smash the trophy. Stay face down, cry it out right soon you hit those curtains.
or wait till you get home. Either way, be gracious and take your L. And for us, that L means like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. We love to be the official bodybuilding show of all divisions, IFBB Pro League, and the up-and-comer NPC guys. For the real deal, Chris Cormier.
Smiling when I lose.
Never. Always winning. And Judge Sarah Gilgindy. Hello.
The director kept saying smile. So
Smiling.
smile. Everybody smile.
All right, we're taking our L. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next Primetime Muscle.